everyone, a very warm good evening to all of you who are present over here. I welcome you all in this wonderful session of Ace IELTS where I am evaluating your responses to tell you how to improve the mistakes that you are committing. Okay? Come on, be quick and let me know that all of you are here by just mentioning it in the chat box and let me know you guys are here and really excited to attend the session. Come on, be quick. I need chats. I need the chat box to be filled with the comments by telling me that you guys are here and actually excited for the session. Okay? So come on, be quick. And as you know that after we have completed the writing section, which is writing task 1 bar graph, I am here to deal with the speaking section. Okay? Very good evening, ma'am. I hope you are having a pleasant day. Yes, I am having a pleasant day. Very good evening. Dilip, I'll be dealing with the reading section, but just listen to the speaking section first and then I'll be dealing with the reading section, okay? Very good evening, Rahul. Okay, come on, be quick. Come and let me know that you guys are here. Hello, Aryan. Very good evening. Okay, so as you guys are already aware of the fact that today I'm going to deal with the speaking section of IELTS, right? Okay, good evening Dilip, very good evening Kirti. Okay, so come on, now let's understand what are the topics that I'm going to deal with, okay? Okay. So we are going to deal with the format of IELTS speaking, do's and don'ts, evaluation of speaking task, parameter and criteria and band descriptors. Okay. So very good evening Shriyansi. Okay, I hope you all are doing really great and I hope you all are really very excited to attend this session. Okay, now let's understand what are the things that I'm going to cover over here. So first of all, I want to tell you what is the format of speaking section of IELTS. Okay, now before going ahead, let me just tell you that as you all know, we have to deal with 4 sections, okay? Listening, reading, writing and speaking, okay? So far for the past 3 days, I have been dealing with bar graph, which is writing task 1 of academic training, right? Now today I'll be dealing with the speaking task. Now one thing I would like to tell you that speaking task is same for both academic and general. Okay, and there is no difference. Okay, and it is same for both the parties who are appearing for any of the mode. So if you have chosen to appear for PBT, which is pen paper based test, still your speaking section is dealing with the same kind of questions, and even if you're dealing with CBT, still your speaking section is going to deal with the same categories of question. Okay, now let me tell you one thing really clearly. Now the IELTS speaking test is designed to assess your spoken English skill as it is conducted in one-on-one interview format, and it consists of 3 parts. The entire speaking test lasts about 11 to 14 minutes. Now, listen to me carefully. Even if you have appeared or even if you would have chosen for PBT or CBT, both the categories or both the modules or both the modes, you have to have the speaking test in one-on-one interview with the examiner. Okay, so if you think that you have chosen CBT and your test is being taken through AI, it is not the fact. Okay, very good evening. Very good evening, Sharda. It's good evening. Okay. Okay, fine. Chalo. Now let's move ahead. Okay, so the test is going to be about 11 to 14 minutes. The test is going to be like one-on-one interview where you and the examiner is going to be there. Also, now understand how many parts or how many tasks are there that we have to encounter. So first of all, listen, we have 3 tasks to deal with. Okay, if you don't know, then we have 3 tasks to deal with. Task 1, 2 and 3. Now, you can just somewhat say that the difficulty with each level of task increases. And also, the elaboration of the content with each level of task gets elaborated, like the demand of the question. Okay, now let's understand what needs to be done in part 1. And today we are going to deal with part 1. Okay, introduction and interview, which is going to be of 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, introduction or interview, I mean the task 1. In task 1, we have 4 to 5 minutes in total that we are having, and we have to answer the question in that time zone only. Now, the purpose is to introduce yourself to the examiner. Now, this section is also known as warm-up section. Okay, this section is also known as a warm-up section, where it is totally understood that the students or the candidates who are coming up for the examination, they might be nervous or they might have some sort of anxiety and all that. So just to eradicate all those things, this kind of task is being taken up through the examiner to make the candidate comfortable for the examination. Okay, now let's understand further about part 1. Okay, you will be asked to introduce yourself and provide some personal information related to some personal question. Now, such as your name, where you are from, and your job or your studies. Question will cover familiar topics like home, family, work, studies and interest. Okay. So basically, this part deals entirely with the questions which are related to your perspective, or in which you are the better person to tell. Okay. Now, you need to remember this thing, that whenever you are going to deal with this kind of a question, you should be aware of yourself. You should be aware of yourself, like what you like, what are your likings, or what are your interests, or what are the things, or what you do you work or do you study, how many members are there in your family, how your hometowns look like. So these things which you can only answer. And what questions will be asked in the introduction part? Okay, so let me tell you, the questions that you are going to encounter in part 1 is specifically dealing with your opinion. Okay. Now, when I say your opinion, it's like describe a place you have visited, or describe your favorite country, describe your favorite city, like that. Okay. So, some of the question that I'll be giving it to you over here is going to be, wait. Okay. Okay. So I have written some of the questions that can appear in your speaking part 1. Okay. So this is not the only questions, but you can encounter few more questions, but the pattern is going to be the same. It means the examiner would like to know about yourself. Now, do you work or do you study? So you have to tell them like, do you work or do you study? Now, describe your hometown, the place where you live or whatever your hometown is, you have to describe that. Do you like to study alone or with friends? Do you like to study alone or do you prefer to study alone or do you prefer to study with friends? Okay, describe a place you visited and now is your favorite one. Okay, you can describe your favorite place, and also they might ask you to describe about your family, describe about a friend, or describe about your favorite hobby or a recreational pursuit, right? So these are the things or these are the questions that you can encounter in part 1 of speaking. I hope I have answered the question. Okay. Now let's talk about all the do's and don'ts that you need to take care while preparing or while answering a certain question. Now listen to me carefully. Practice regularly. This is one of the most important point I would like to mention it over here, that you need to practice regularly. Okay. Now, Now, explore all the question. You have to explore all the question related to all the question types and categories and tasks, and you have to practice them out accordingly. Now, in speaking, there is no any kind of confined rule that, okay, this type of question, okay, this is the question that's going to come or this is the question that's going to come. No, we can only suggest, or at the time of preparation, you can only prepare the categories in which you can take various aspect of question. There is no any kind of confined question. Even these are just for the sake of examples, and I'm not committing on the fact that these are the exact questions that are going to come. Okay, so however, whenever you're going to prepare for your speaking section, make sure that you prepare on the instances and don't rely on the question, and which it ultimately gives you the sense that don't memorize the answers as well. Okay, now listen carefully. Now what you have to listen over here, you have to listen to the question carefully. Listen to the question asked by the examiner carefully so that you have a clear idea of how you have to answer it. Now, let's say there's a question given by the examiner, and let's say somehow you are not able to understand the meaning and also you're not able to infer the meaning of the question, then definitely, it will lead you to give wrong answers and incorrect answer, which will ultimately doesn't fit in any of the parameters and band criteria, right? So it's really very important for you to be very clear while listening to the question and what the examiner is actually asking from you. Okay, expand your answer. Now, don't get stick to answer in a very monotonous voice first. Second, don't let your answer give in one word. Don't give one word answer. Do you like to do gardening? Yes, I like to do gardening. No. Even if you prefer to do something, explain it properly with example if possible. Even if you don't prefer anything, okay, well, I actually don't prefer gardening because Now, here you can give a proper justification to why you don't prefer gardening, and if possible, you can come up with an example. Always remember, example can be a best part for you to explain anything. Okay. Now, stay calm and confident. I know it is something that I'm saying can be very, impossible sort of stuff, because I know anyone who's going to appear for the speaking test is having even a little bit of nervousness and anxiety, but that's totally fine. It's a normal human tendency to have, but still you can calm yourself down. You can take enough rest before your examination so that you become confident. Okay. And make sure it doesn't affect your delivery. Okay. Now, next, what is there? Ask for clarification. Okay. Now, you can always ask the examiner to repeat the question if you didn't get the question at one go. Okay, so don't figure this out, or don't have that kind of a hesitation that how can I ask the examiner. No, you can always ask the examiner in order to repeat the question for your clarification. Remember, if you are going to ask the question, you are going to get clarified on the questions, right? And you will be able to answer effectively. Okay, so don't hesitate on this part. Use natural pronunciation. Don't pretend. Don't pretend that. Don't pretend that you have a complex thinking of ideas. Okay, and also don't pretend that you have a really good complex vocabulary, because you are going to be at loss if you are pretending. If that thing is naturally in you, that's well and good, excellent, brilliant. But if you have to pretend to show the examiner that you are having a really good grammatical knowledge or really good content idea or very complex vocabulary, you are at loss. Don't do that. Should we speak 4 to 5 lines in the introduction question, or do we have to speak more? As you said, give me examples. So can we give an example in the intro part? So basically, when I said that 4 to 5 lines, now as I have given you a stipulated time, so the time that is allocated for task 1 is going to be 1 minute. Okay, so the time that I have allocated to you, which is already allocated, which is 1 minute, right? So in that 1 minute, you have to give ample amount of answer. For example, let's say if the question comes and okay, I'll answer this question for the example as well. Let's say if the question comes, do you like to study alone or do you prefer to study with friends? Well, I prefer to study alone because now from here you are going to state your justification. Because I'm really bad at concentrating properly, and I know that if I sit with my friends, I might end up having a gossip with them. So, in order to get my course complete, I prefer to sit alone and pay a proper concentration on my planning and studying so that I can come up with a good result. That's all. You don't have to focus on giving a lot of information. Neither you have to focus on giving very minimal information. I prefer to study alone because the justification. And for the sake of example, if you want to give, like many a time, for example, many a time it happened that I had sit with my friends in order to discuss something on the subject, but later on we ended having a gossip about our classmates, which is definitely not worth at the time of examination. Got it? So, you can just elaborate it. You don't need to put on very extra information, or until and unless they have asked you. Okay, ma'am, when will you live evaluate? Okay, yes, I am about to be there. Okay, so I was saying that whenever you're going to speak up your answer, make sure it is precise and to the point. Okay, now be honest and personal. It means that be honest to your responses. Your responses should be honest. Okay, now, okay, don't ignore follow-up questions, as you are going to get follow-up questions after your responses as well. So don't ignore that. Don't be afraid of your accent. Accent is never a concern. Mark a note of it, and don't forget to relax in order to be calm and composed while you are answering. Okay, now let's have a quick response of a student. Now, these responses are from our paid batch student, where we ask the student to submit their evaluations or answers so that we can evaluate it properly. Okay. Now, I'll be playing the audio as well, and here the transcript is also written so that you can have a clear understanding on that part. But most important, let's understand what the question was. So the question is, describe a place you visited was worth visiting. So the examiner is asking that describe a place you visited was worth visiting. The examiner is asking that you have to describe a place that you visited and it was worth visiting. Listen to the question and read the question again and understand what the examiner is asking. Okay. Now, let's have a quick look at the audio, and for a reference, you can just have a look at the transcript so that you better understand it. Okay.
A place called Shillong. Shillong is located in northeastern India. The city has a lot of famous tourist spots for which millions of visitors visits every year along with their families to enjoy this. I would recommend a place called Shillong. Shillong is located in northeastern India. The city has a lot of famous tourist spots for which millions of visitors visits every year along with their families to enjoy these famous tourist spots. Moreover, it has cool and moderate temperatures in comparison to the other cities of northeastern India. Besides, here a festival is celebrated once in a year in the month of November, that is Cherry Blossom Festival. Cherry Blossom Festival is a famous festival which is celebrated in Japan, but in India it is celebrated in Shillong. Because of this festival, millions of tourists from all over the India as well as from all over the world visits once in a year in the month of November to enjoy this famous festival. I would recommend my friend to visit Shillong in the month of November to enjoy the cherry blossom festival.
Okay. I hope you all have heard it. Okay. Now let me tell you. This is the transcript in front of you. You might have heard it. I know the student was a bit stammering. The student has that stammering problem, but I'm telling you, if anyone of you is having, don't worry, it is not going to affect your bands. Okay, because this is not the concern. The concern is how you're going to present your answer. Now listen to me carefully. Describe a place you visited was worth visiting. I want to know about a place. Being an examiner, I just want to know about a place that you have visited and it was worth visiting. So, can we say about any temple or tourist place in this question? Yes, you can talk about describe a place. Now, you're not confined to describe a country or a city. You can describe a place in which you can take anything. Okay, but it needs to be in the question. Now, describe a place you visited was worth visiting. Again, the student started, I would recommend a place Shillong. Right? First of all, make sure that whenever you start your answer, you start it with an opening statement. Okay? So the opening statement is missing. First. Second, I would recommend. No recommendation was being asked in this question. Anywhere in the question is it written that recommend a place you visited and was worth visiting? Recommendation can come into consideration, but in the end of the response where you can make it as a part or a suggestion of your response, right? Initially you cannot come up with, you just have to describe a place. I would recommend a place Shillong. No. Okay? Shillong is a place located in northeastern India. Really good description of the location. Okay? Yes, exactly, Aditi. As a conclusion, the city has a lots of tourists. Okay. Now, here a city has a lots of tourist spot for which millions of visitors visit every year along with their families to enjoy. Okay. Fine, fair enough. But here is a grammatical inaccuracy that I would like to tell you. This phrase a lots of. So whenever you are using the phrase a lot of, then it is going to be either a lot of or lots of. It is never a lots of. Got it? So you are using it grammatically wrong. So here this thing will be highlighted. Now, for which millions of visitors visit every year along with their families to enjoy. Fair enough. Moreover, now there is a very good sense of additional connector is being used, which is a very good commendable performance. It has cool and moderate temperatures in comparison to other cities. Now, in comparison to this. Now you can replace it with as compared to. It has cool and moderate temperatures as compared to the other cities of northeastern India. Now again, moreover is used. So here a repetition is being done. Now I have told you in the previous session also that whenever you are using a connector, make sure you use numerous connector, as I have already given you a list of numerous connectors. Now here you can see the addition of the information is being done. Right? The information is being added over here. For that, what you need to do? You need to be very clear that once you have used moreover, then that is okay. Now, where it was here. Moreover is already used. Don't use it again. You will get your bands deducted on the repetition part. Okay, you have used moreover, go for any other connector. Furthermore, additionally, in addition to, also, and as well as, you have a lot more connectors to use. Now, this is where you are going to judge on the wide range of vocabulary and coherence and cohesion. Getting it? Now, a festival is celebrated once in a year in the month of November. That is Cherry Blossom Festival. Cherry Blossom Festival is a famous festival. Now, there is a term known as pronoun. You all might be aware of this pronoun. Tell me, come on, be quick. You know pronoun, what is pronoun, right? Now, there is a rule in the grammatical form, like whenever you have already mentioned about something, ma'am, how can I build my vocabulary to better express my ideas during the speaking test? You just need to stick to the base word and keep on practicing them. You don't have to go for the complexity of the vocabulary if you are preparing for IELTS. First. Second, now when I'm talking about pronoun, I mean that when you have already mentioned one information over here, that is Cherry Blossom Festival, again you don't have to come up with the same repetition of the words. The student has said, Moreover, a festival is celebrated once in a year in the month of November, that is Cherry Blossom Festival. Now again, Cherry Blossom Festival is a famous festival which is celebrated in Japan. So much elaboration. Why? Now this will be an irrelevant elaboration of ideas. Simply, you can just say, moreover, a festival is celebrated once in a year in a month of November, that is Cherry Blossom Festival. This festival is very famous in Japan. Use pronouns when you have already given the main information. Getting it? Make sure you use the proper use of pronoun. Now here is where you are going to get judged on the grammatical range and accuracy. Got it? Getting it? Everyone? Getting the minute mistakes that you commit at the time of speaking? If not, let me know, and if yes, please let me know. Okay? Now, which is celebrated in Japan, but in India, it is celebrated in Shillong. Again, because of this festival, millions of tourists comes from all over the India as well as from all over the world, visits once in the year in the November and in the month of November. I just want to tell you, no need to elaborate your answer so much that you end up adding the irrelevant data which is not required. Any extras you will try to add, it will simply help you in order to deduct the band, not to increase the band. And second thing, visits once. All over the world, from all over the world, visit once. Visits will not be the word because we are talking about in a plural sense. Whenever we talk about in a plural sense, we talk about verb's first form. And whenever we talk about singular sense or singular noun, we always use the fifth form of the verb, which is S and ES. Here, because we are talking about the plural form, we have to use verb's first form, which is visit and not visits. Can you see the minute detailings over here? This answer is huge for part 1, I guess. Yes, it is. Because there is a lot of irrelevant data that shouldn't be here. And even if it is not huge, and see again, you know, like for a minute, it is not that if you're going to speak more than a minute, it is going to be bad for you or it will decrease your band score. No, it's not like that. Until and unless it is not impeding the understanding of the question, and until and unless you are completing the question properly, it is not the fact. Time is not a fact. I'm telling you. So this is the reason in speaking we give you approximate time, which is 11 to 14 minutes. No confined time is being given to you. It means your speaking test can end even in 11 minutes or in 14 minutes. Now it depends. Getting it? Okay. Now, I recommend my friend to visit in the month of November to enjoy the Cherry Blossom Festival. Lower chance of getting mistaken when speaking less. Exactly. And it is not about speaking less. Again, it is about speaking to the point and precisely and to the question what is given. Now let's understand, if I have asked you, describe a place you visited was worth visiting, and instead of talking about that particular place, okay, now here, from here you can see that from here to here, the student is continuously talking about, okay, so from here to here, the student is continuously talking about the festival which is Cherry Blossom Festival. And tell me what the question is dealing with. The question is dealing with the entire place. So, when it comes to a festival, you just have to give a gist of a festival. Okay, Priyanshu, I'll remember your name. Okay. Ma'am, can you provide any tips on how to handle unexpected or challenging questions during the IELTS speaking interview? One of the most important tip that I can give you over here is be natural. The very thing that comes to your mind after listening to the question is what you have to stick to that. Getting it? First of all, don't memorize your answer. If you think that these are the questions that are continuously being repeated in the IELTS thing, and if somehow you also get it, and if you're going to say the memorized answer, you are at a loss. Be natural. But yes, you have to be creative on making up the content. That is a fact. You have to. This is the reason I keep on saying that practice and practice. Getting it? So now this is the entire evaluation. Now what we got from this evaluation is, first of all, the question did complete. Okay, fine, I understand that the question was addressed but not completely. Right? We have seen some missing things, we have seen some grammatical, so mostly grammatical range and accuracy is the major concern over here, which we felt is actually that needs to be addressed. Make sure one thing, being grammatically correct is very important. Okay, that's a fact, that is really very important. But you also need to make sure that how clear your answer is. And if you're not being grammatically correct, definitely it's going to hamper your answer. If something that needs to be conveyed in a past tense and you are conveying it in a present tense, then definitely you are playing with the time, which is actually not accurate to give the answer. Getting it? Please let me know if you are getting all my points and if I'm clear to you. If you have any question, please feel free to come up to me. Okay? Now, let's have a quick look at the sample response and let's see how we can come up with the response of the same question. Okay? Now, well, definitely I have a place that I'll highly recommend or not recommend, then you can come up with, have a place which is worth visiting, and that is Shillong. You have noticed that I have used this word, well. Okay? Now you can use these different opening statements in order to open up your answer. For example, well, I prefer, or according to me, or that's a tricky one. So you can come up with these kind of short statements or short phrases, to start up your answer. Okay. Now, here you have started describing the place. The description starts from here. A place located in northeastern India. The city has numerous tourist spots to attract different tourists who come along with their family to enjoy the beautiful scenery, delectable food, serene rivers, and to enjoy a lot of entertainment. Now, whenever you plan your answer or whenever you get this kind of a question, make sure you plan it accordingly. Now, when I say plan, I mean you need to take care of all the aspect of place. Now, let's say you are visiting a place. What are the prime things you are going to visit? Attracts, which means the tourist attracts. Food. People. Weather. Right? Ma'am, how many vocabulary words and idioms should we use in speaking? Plus in which part we can use idioms? You can use idioms in all the part, but it totally depends on whether it fits the statement or not. Okay? First. Second, if I talk about vocabulary, always go for topic specific vocabulary. Always. Always go for topic specific vocabulary. You have to make sure that whatever vocabulary you are using, it should be into the question or related to the question. Right? Now, next. Moreover, again, here I have used a connector which tells you more about the Shillong has cool and moderate temperature compared to other cities in northeastern India. This vocabulary will take generations to get familiar in speaking for me. Serene and delectable. Okay. So, it's not like that actually. You just have to be familiar with the meaning of the vocabulary, and once you start using them, okay, once you start using them, you will get familiar to this. Serene means peaceful. Anything that is peaceful, calm, composing, that is known as serene. Delectable means anything which is tasty, delicious, palatable. So, delectable is a word that is used to explain the taste, and serene is a word that is used to explain the feeling of calm. Okay. So, these are the words that you can come up in order to explain it. For this, I already told you that whenever you are going to now here in this type of a question, you can go through with the words like, which is related to visiting places, okay, or you can visit to a place, you can explore different place, you can visit to tourist attract. When I talk about the food, you can take words like delectable, palatable, tasty, delicious. If you want to go deep into the spicy, sweet, sugary, spicy, sour, you can go with that. Also, if you are talking about the traveling thing, so you can come up with the vocabularies that is related to traveling. You can come up with the vocabulary that is related to the behavior of a people, how the people are they helpful, they are caring, they are very well behaved, they are very well mannered, they are polite. So that's all you need to take up. And these words are not actually very difficult to use. I'm not asking you to refer to any Oxford dictionary and come up with a complex word as you can. Getting it? Just stick to the basic ones. Now, one significant event in Shillong is Cherry Blossom Festival. Now here, from this sentence, you get to have an idea that the Cherry Blossom Festival is not the entire attraction of the answer, but is just a part of the answer, right? Celebrated annually in November. This festival, which is famous in Japan, is also celebrated in Shillong, drawing tourists from all over India and world. Because of this festival, millions of tourists visit Shillong every November, and I would love to visit this place again to explore more. That's all. Got it? Now, this is how you can come up. Getting it? Now, this is a very sweet and short conclusion to this answer. You can conclude it having a very neat conclusion that I am also planning to visit again to explore more beautiful places and more hidden treasures. Any word? Hello Sukhmanjit, how are you? I hope you're doing good. Okay? Got it? Getting it? Let me know. If you have any query, even that let me know. Got it? So this is not the only evaluation. Every day I'm going to come up with a new evaluation. Okay. So these are the things, and this is a short, crisp answer to the point, which is addressing all the parameters of a particular question. Okay. Now, let's talk about the parameters. Fluency and coherence, that deals with the flow of your answer and connecting the ideas. Got it? Key aspects are always going to be the idea that you deliver. Lexical resource is vocab. Grammatical range and accuracy is definitely the kind of tenses you are using, the kinds of sentence structure you are using, and the kind of things that you are using in order to frame up your answer. The flow, the sequence, the ideas, the framing, everything comes up over here. Pronunciation is a key aspect. Make sure your pronunciation is clear and not obscure. Obscure means unclear. Ma'am, what should I do if I get stuck or have difficulty in answering a question during IELTS speaking interview? So even if you get stuck at the time of speaking your answers, Just think about any grounded idea and think about any vocabulary. Don't go on the complexity again and again, I'm repeating, and end your answer with a complete conclusion. Now let's say what happens, if you get stuck in between, don't get nervous. At least complete your answer with a neat conclusion. Don't leave it in the middle. Okay, so if you somehow leave it in the middle, it will be very difficult for you to cover that up. Okay, so make sure you complete it. Now these are the band descriptors. So the evaluation that I have done over here, it ranges over here from here to here, sorry. Somewhat ranging from band 5 to band 5.5. Why? Now let's understand how I have marked it. Modest user, partial command of the language. So the student was not having the entire command on the language. The student was able to frame the sentences but not fully able to cover the question's demand. Can convey basic meaning but with frequent errors. The student was coming up very frequent errors of the grammar, also the usage of certain phrases, and the vocabularies, also about the tenses, right? So this is where the student is lying. So if you are also lying somewhere over here, start practicing and start having all the questions and start framing your answers properly, and most importantly, start planning your answer, which is very important. Okay. Okay, fine. So 2-minute summary, whatever we have learned today, what we have learned that speaking part 1 deals with intro part. Now you have to make sure that you sound clear. Ideas are linked properly. Okay, what else? Vocabs should not getting it? Ma'am, it's good to use the majority of tenses, models, passive, complex and compound conditional to get high band score. Yes, it is. It is good. But till it is not impeding the understanding, it means you can use them. It is really good to use them, but make sure you don't use them in such a manner that it starts getting extra and it starts getting diverted from the meaning of the answer, right? So you have to use them concisely and precisely. Okay. Now, so yes, thanks for watching. Thank you so much everyone for being here. And can you suggest any specific exercise or activities to help me practice speaking confidently and naturally? So yes, don't worry, just be here in the series and I'll be helping you out with everything. Okay, then bye bye, take care, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.